This video is for the Chapter 4 notes, and it will provide some background information that you will need for Chapter 5, which covers the 4 macromolecules. So we will be looking at elements that are essential to life, like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. When we talk about organic compounds, we mean that it contains carbon, although there are some exceptions, like CO2 is actually inorganic. But for the most part, if it contains carbon, it is organic. If it does not, it is inorganic. Scientists are now able to synthesize organic compounds, and we will look at that more later in Unit 7 when we talk about how life formed on our planet. Carbon is perfect to be the building block of life because it has 6 electrons. 2 are in the first shell and 4 are in the second, so it has 4 valence electrons, which allows carbon to bond to 4 other things. Normally that will be 4 single bonds, but sometimes there will be double bonds, and that's okay. Usually with our 4 organic molecules or macromolecules, carbon is bonded to another carbon and some hydrogens. But at any rate, it is used for carbs, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. The properties of the specific organic molecules depend on the arrangement of carbon and the other groups that are attached to it. And we will look at that more in Chapter 5 as well. The example here is comparing estradiol and testosterone, which are the female and male sex hormones. They look basically identical with just those blue highlighted changes, but that makes all the difference in the world. So they're both steroids, they're both made of 4 rings, but the different chemical groups give it the different function. There are several functional groups that are important for macromolecules, and they'll be attached to the carbon skeletons and will be what's involved when there is a chemical reaction to them. The 7 most important are hydroxyl, carbonyl, carboxyl, amino, sulfhydryl, phosphate, and methyl. The first 6 on that list are chemically reactive and do react relatively well. All of them except for sulfhydryl are hydrophilic and increase solubility of organic compounds in water. Remember that hydrophilic means that it attracts water or likes water, and hydrophobic means it repels or fears. The methyl group is not reactive, but it does serve as a tag on biological molecules, which we will once again see later in the course. Here are some examples of those functional groups and what the important piece is to it and some of the properties and examples. But you can review this figure on your own. It is figure 4.9 in your textbook. One particular example I would like to highlight now to make our lives easier later is a phosphate group example of ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, but when we're talking about free response questions in AP, it also stands for answer the prompt, meaning don't add all the fluff that no one needs to know. What happens for ATP to be our perfect energy molecule is one phosphate, because it has 3, is split off, which leaves us with adenosine diphosphate when it reacts with water. And when that happens, we have a release of energy that can be harvested and used by the cell. That is all for Chapter 4. I hope that this will be helpful in understanding some stuff with Chapter 5 here in a bit.